The rivalry between Central York and York High goes back a number of years, but can be summed up in the game since 2004's thrilling overtime victory by Central. In 2005, an undefeated Central team traveled to York High and came away with a tough, hard-fought victory. In 2006, the tradition was kept alive, with York High jumping out to a 14-0 lead in the first quarter. Central took its time and came back to tie the game at 14 at the end of regulation. In overtime, the York High defense held Central to a field goal. On their first play of offense, York High scores on an exciting run to end the game. Tonight, the rivalry continues. It's York High at Central. Next.
Varsity Sports Zone presents York Area League High School Football. Tonight it's the Division I League opener as the York High Bearcats take on the Central York Panthers. Hello everybody and welcome to Central. Chris Bupp along with broadcast partner Craig Smith. And when you look in the Division I football dictionary under the word rivalry, this game's got to be there.
Absolutely. You saw the opening. Over the last 3 years, this thing has really gotten ratcheted up. 2004, 2005, 2006, we saw 2 overtime games, once decided by a field goal. These schools are very close, up over the North George Street Hill. The new campus here is a little bit further away, but guess what? The rivalry is closer than ever.
And when we talk about York High, you spell out York High. There's no D in York High, but there should be.
Absolutely. What a defense this year. Coach Ortega tells us there's no one outstanding player like a Knowledge Timmons. You know what there is, though? There's 11 players with great chemistry, working together, gang tackling. And guess what? York High this year, through the first 3 weeks, has outscored their opponents 83-0.
Well, York High hasn't given up a point, but on the Central side, the Panthers are 2-1, and they've been battle-tested in those first 3 games.
They have. They had 2 very close games. Opening week against West York, last week against Dover, and in the middle lost a game to Northern. However, Coach Brad Livingston feels they are ready to go for this Division I opener tonight. He's made some adjustments, moved some guys around, trying to get his best players touches with the football, and I think we're going to have a great matchup.
Well, when we talk about the key players tonight, we're going to go right to the line of scrimmage. And for the Bearcats, the guy who anchors the line in that tremendous defense, Jamie Escobar.
Jamie Escobar happens to be the nose guard on this outstanding defense that has not allowed a point yet this year. Tipping his scales a little over 300 pounds. He's 6'3", and he's a run stopper and really anchors that defense. But again, one of just 11 outstanding players.
Well, and on the Central side, another big guy and a guy who's headed to college to play his football at Temple University, Wayne Tribune. Coach Livingston calls him the total package.
He's a total package because he does it in the classroom. He does it on the football field. He's just shy of 300 pounds, standing 6'3", plays offensive and defensive tackle, and you're going to see Wayne Tribune in on a lot of plays tonight, opening holes for running backs, protecting the quarterback, and, of course, on defense, making some plays.
Well, if it's anything like the last 3 years, you better get tight in your seat because this is going to be a good one. The Bearcats and the Panthers coming up here on Comcast.
The Central York School District is proud to present the 2007 edition of the Central York High School Marching Band.
Why is it you two have so much trouble communicating?
I don't like the way he talks to me. He doesn't have to use that kind of language.
All I said was that you had a big osteo fight. Oh, okay, well, what about the secrets you kept from me?
Oh, so I didn't tell you about my drug allergies. Big deal.
That could have been nasty.
Ooh. Okay. So how come I always have to go to your place?
I'd be happy to come to you, Judith. I can't fit the X-ray machine in my car. How's your shoulder doing anyway?
Fine.
Yeah?
I worked up to 3-pound dumbbells yesterday.
Really? Huh. Just 3 weeks after surgery. That's pretty good.
Yeah?
Communication is the best medicine. A message from the American Academy of Orthopedic Surgeons.
Well, now we're getting somewhere. Group hug.
How How dangerous is Route 30? Hi, I'm Bob Jensenius, and here's what the York County Chamber of Commerce's Route 30 committee found. The west section had 32% of all the crashes and led with 46% of the fatalities. The signalized and urban sections experienced 54% of the accidents, most of those with moderate to no injuries. The east section had 14% of the accidents, with the most major accidents. For more on our Route 30 report, visit us at yorkchamber.com.
Welcome back to Central York High School and the matchup between the Bearcats and the Panthers. And you know, it's funny, Craig, we showed the Open, we talked about the last 3 years and the great football games, and you see the central part of the student body just waiting for this Panther team to come out onto the field. You walk on the field tonight, and whatever it, in quotation marks, is, it's here tonight.
It is, and you can feel it from both sides of the field. You can feel it from both squads, both coaching staffs, both bands. I mean, everybody's into this game tonight. I arrived very early, as did you. The parking lot was full already. People were tailgating, and a tremendous amount of enthusiasm generated here on the campus of Central York High School.
And I think the other big factor tonight, York High 3-0, we mentioned unscored upon, kind of puts the bullseye on their chest, and we heard from the Central coaching staff, everything, including the kitchen sink, is going to get thrown at the Bearcat defense tonight.
Absolutely, and we'll see whether the Bearcats can extend that scoreless streak one more week here in the opening of Division I in the York Area League. And what you're looking down on there is the tunnel from which the Panthers will emerge. Band is lining, students are lining, and here they come.
Big number 70 there, Wayne Tribune, the guy we talked about in the Open. York High's victories thus far. Week number 1, a 12-0 win over Reading. We had that here on Comcast. A big shutout victory in week 2 against Lancaster-McCaskey. Then an equally impressive shutout victory last week against Susquehannock. You know, the combined records of those teams not that good, but I don't care. It's Reading, McCaskey, and Susquehannock, 3 quality football programs.
Right, and Susquehannock's moving up to Division I next year in the York Area League, so you know they're a program on the brink of, and they're a big school, and they're growing tremendously, and it's just going to be interesting to see how this game plays out.
For Matt Ortega, a comment that he made before the game that I thought was interesting, and that was, he said, you know what though, Central is battle tested, and we talked about that. They won, defeated West York in their opening game on a touchdown within the last minute of the game, and then a very dramatic win last week against Dover, where Dover had picked up a fumble and a Central player caught Vaughn Hebron from behind. They missed the field goal, and Central hung on to win that game. So the Panthers are 2-1, but they've been in some tight battles.
They have, and I think that can only help them in a game like tonight, because if this thing is close down to the end, Central's been there. And York High, I think they're on their side of the football tonight, Chris, thus far, they are exuding confidence.
Yeah, you do sort of sense that on the Bearcats sideline, and Coach Matt Ortega kind of, you can tell, sort of tries to calm that exuberance and confidence because, well, we've won 3, but it's a whole new game tonight. And Coach Brad Livingston said, you know, they're 3-0, we're 2-1. This is why we go out on the field to play games like this.
Well, this is a beautiful facility, the same type of field that you see at York High. So the synthetic turf is here, a very fast surface for both these teams, and the speed for both teams obviously will play into tonight's game.
And you see the captains coming to midfield, and boy, you just think back over the last 3 years of this game, Craig, and just 3 absolutely unbelievable games. The overtime field goal at Central a couple of years back.
If I remember correctly, Central won, elected to defer. Central's going to kick away from the scoreboard. Let me get my signals, then we're going to shake hands and we're going to get started. Okay, gentlemen?
You see referee Eric Little giving the signals. York High will receive. Eric Little is our referee, joined tonight by Tom Banks. The umpire. Lineman is Tom Trimmer. Line judge is Aaron Hartlob, and the back judge is Kirk Fisher. Well, Here's a guy that we've talked about for a couple years, Little Tucker, signing his autograph onto what was really a neat thing. I think we have a shot of it here. He's actually in this week's version of People Magazine. We're going to go to the field for the playing of our national anthem by the Central Band. And just to finish that thought on Tucker, he was in this week's issue of People Magazine as a standing atop a pyramid of Central players. Just a neat tribute to a young guy, you know, and he's a young man who this football team, this school district, the whole community has really rallied around.
Well, they did. They adopted him almost, 3-4 years ago. He's suffering from sarcoma type of cancer, and everybody wears the Tucker's team shirts on game day. Fans as well as the players underneath their pads. The school raised $17,000 towards his medical care, and overall the entire community $100,000 towards this young man's medical care. And I thought one of the most touching moments that Brad Livingston and his staff did was to arrange with the Spring Grove team last year for Tucker to wear his uniform and carry the football and score a touchdown right before the start of the game between the Panthers and the Rockets. So you see him as the night goes on, but yeah, it's a neat thing, and we just wish the very best for that young man, and that he gets back to full health as soon as possible and just has a wonderfully productive life.
Well, we are set for action. The Bearcats out on the field, getting ready to receive the kick from Alex Kelly.
Central actually winning the toss and deferring, so they're going to turn it over to Russell Stoner's defense right to get started here tonight and see what they can do against the York High offense.
So dual backs, back deep, standing around the 5-yard line for the Bearcats, and you see number 1, Kelly, putting the tee down at the 40-yard line. Again, another great facility, as you mentioned, Craig, the artificial turf. Just beautiful here at Central, and let's hope the game matches up to all the enthusiasm and everything that's happened up to this point. Look at this, a little short squib kick, and ball's loose. And Central says they have it.
You know, they lined up as if they were going to onside kick, and they did it. Sometimes they'll line up like that and then spread out right before the kick.
Maybe that's the kitchen sink that the coaching staff of Central was telling us about. They said they were going to do everything in their power. Now we have a situation tonight. Brandon Workinger and James Culp have done some quarterbacking for Central. Workinger is going to start tonight. Liggins in the backfield along with Tly Schilt, Ryan Wolf, Parrish Fells, Nick Petrie, the wideouts, Horn, Johnson, Roth, Dwyer, and big Wayne Tribune across the front for the Panthers. And the Panthers are going to start in York High territory at the 46. And the pitch back and a fumble, and I think Central was able to get on it. It looked like it was going to be an option pass by Lamar Calhoun. Here you see that vaunted York High defense. Escobar, Gould, Henry, and Daniels, along with Wilfredo Martinez, Brad Angle, a good linebacker, and Brandon Walker. Andre Callum is a linebacker as well. Barnes, Newt Miller are in the secondary, along with Mike Kennard. The big goose egg at the bottom for this York High defense, and Central loses just about 10 yards on the botched pitch play on first down.
And they're lucky they didn't lose the football there,
right,
too. It was on the ground with an opportunity for York High to get it. So good recovery by Calhoun.
Liggins and Schultz behind Workinger.
Second back is Liggins, and Liggins, Escobar has him right at the line of scrimmage, and when big number 74 gets on you, you're going to have a tough time getting away. "6'3", 310 pounds is Jamie Escobar, and that is an anchor in the middle of that defensive line. So third and still about 20, maybe 19 for the Panthers, but tough down here, Craig, and probably a down where you just try to get a few yards back and punt the ball away.
Wind absolutely not a factor tonight. The American flag is perfectly still in the north end zone.
Workinger looks to throw, flips it out, intended for Boblitz and well overthrown, so it's going to be 4th down.
And guess who was all over Workinger? Number 74 again. You'll see him there all night long.
And a big boost for the York High defense after Central recovers the onside kick. The defense forces Central into a 3 and out, and Kelly back to punt. Line drive kick, and picked up at about the 10-yard line. It's Kynard still on his feet. Look out, he's got open field. 30. Kelly's got to knock him down, and he just does as Kynard gets it out to about the 49-yard line.
And I'll tell you what, Chris, way back where he picked up that ball, number 33, Stefante Doby, a 5'11" freshman, delivered an incredibly good block to spring him. When Kynard was trying to change directions, he got just the block he needed at just the right time. Let's see if we can see it. Number 33. 39-yard return. Boy, that gives them very good field position. There he's picking up the loose ball. Now watch when he changes directions. Not quite.
To the corner is Richardson, and Richardson across the 40 and well into Central territory down to the 38. That's going to be a gain of about 13 and a 1st down for the Bearcats. That's that underneath handoff to Richardson that we saw him score on in week 1 against Reading. Here's the Bearcat offense. Jordan Davis now the quarterback at York High. Kynard and Walker in the backfield. Callum and Richardson along with Malik Jenneret as a wideout now. Engel, Escobar, Kennedy, Big Zach Zielinski, and Dominic Gould across that big York High front line. Richardson in motion. Flags. So Walker got the carry, but it looks like it's going to go against the Bearcats. So we'll repeat 1st down.
It's a very different looking York High offense than we saw week 1 against Reading.
Right.
Jordan Davis moves under center. Malik Jenneret becomes a wideout. That gives you a big, tall target in Jenneret, who's an excellent athlete. And Coach Ortega just couldn't say enough positive things about Jordan Davis and his confidence and comfort level in running the team.
So 1st and 15 for York High, and okay, we'll get the clock started up. Single back is Walker behind Davis. And he's going to get the carry and pick up maybe a couple. Give him a gain of 2, so it's going to be 2nd down at about 13 for the Bearcats. And you know, the neat part about this rivalry is, Craig, a little trash talking before the game, but it's just a game where both these teams just look forward to lining up and going against each other.
Yeah, I think it's just developed into a great rivalry, and that's because both programs have been on the upswing the last couple years.
So 2nd down and long, 4 wideouts for the Bearcats. Near slot is Jenneret. Davis looking the other way, flips it out there, has a receiver, and making the catch it down inside the 35, down to about the 33. And that's going to bring up a 3rd and about 6 for York High. So we'll actually call it 3rd and 5, and here you see that Central defense: Bryce King, Tyler Gray, Eric Spar, Cody Ross on the front line. Linebackers Wagner, English, and Kyle Baldwitz. Free safety is Joe Munchell, David Arbor, the strong safety. Shoemaker and Lamar Calhoun are the corners. 3rd down and 5 for the Bearcats. Davis getting flushed out of the pocket and stays on his feet and finally brought down. First guy to make contact was 84 Kyle Baldwitz, and Davis had no time at all that time, Craig.
Well, that's that very aggressive Russell Stoner defense. They like to blitz. They like to come hard after the quarterback. There was no question that they were sending in a lot of guys that time. And actually, the Bearcats now get pushed back to about where they started after that good punt return by Kynard.
So York High in punt formation.
He was punting very well in pregame. Let's see how he does here.
And he is Stephante Dobie. And Dobie's punt taken by Calhoun. Boy, look at the moves by Calhoun. Not great yardage on the return, but a lot of moves in about a 5 or 6 yard little short run. So Central starting position, this time their own 28-yard line. Working her back in there at quarterback.
Schultz behind Workinger, 1st and 10 Central.
Schilt the fullback, Liggins the tailback, and a penalty flag, and Liggins takes the carry out along the right side and is knocked out of bounds, and I think it's going to be movement against Central. I saw some people in the backfield flinching just a little bit, and that's what the preliminary call is. It's going to go against the Panthers.
Both teams seem a little tight to me right now. They're making some mistakes in terms of penalties. Their defenses definitely have the edge on each of the offenses so far. It's very early, but that's my sense of this early storyline of this game.
So the penalty is actually going to be refused by the Bearcats, and there's no gain on the play, so 2nd down. Actually, we will give them a yard, so 2nd down and 9.
How's that for a vote of confidence on your defense?
Yeah. This time Workinger goes back into the shotgun. 3 wide receivers to the near side, nobody on the open side of the field. They're going to give the handoff underneath, and some running room out to the 35. Boy, and a big hit there, and bouncing off the tackle is Clyde Schilt, and Schilt gets out to about the 30, going to mark it about the 36. Nice gain on the play. It's going to bring up 3rd and 2. Here you see that underneath handoff, and Schilt does a nice job and really takes contact there, stays on his feet, and picks up a couple extra yards.
Looked like a physics experiment. Two guys hit with equal force, and they both stay up. Kynard was the defender, Schilt the ball carrier.
3rd, and we're going to call it actually 3 yards as the spot is at the 35. Interesting call right here, and they're going to go to Liggins, and Liggins just nowhere to go. That York High defense penetrating into the backfield.
And look who was there. Look who penetrated way deep in the backfield. Number 74 in your program, number 1 in Coach Ortega's heart right now, as he's getting a lot of leverage against that Central offensive line.
So that'll bring out Alex Kelly to punt it away once again. Remember, Kynard with the nice return on the first punt. So the Panthers obviously have to be concerned about that. And a high snap over Kelly's head. And the first big major play of the game, Craig, as York High is going to take over at about the Panther 11-yard line.
He didn't even have a chance to pick that ball up and maybe even kick it or run it out of the end zone for a safety. All he could do was cover it. That's about it. Extremely high snap. And the pressure was on right from the very beginning. Number 23 for the Bearcats, Khalil Thompson, the 6-foot, another freshman coming on strong. A lot of 9th graders popping up here and there in this game.
Yeah. So a huge break. We'll see if the Bearcats can take advantage. 1st and 10 from the Panther 11.
Kynard in motion.
Kiner gets the carry, breaks that first tackle, still on his feet, and finally brought down near the 5. But again, Central had penetration, just couldn't wrap up Kiner.
You know, coming into this game, really, obviously, a lot of the limelight was on the York High defense. Well, this is a chance for Russell Stoner's defense to take some of that limelight away if they could stop them here. But no easy task.
Again, big 84 Kyle Baldwin's on the tackle, but not before Davis gets, or Kiner gets about 6 yards, 2nd down and 4. Same play, inside handoff this time, and Kiner goes nowhere. Good job that time by the Central defense. 25, James English, one of the guys in on the tackle. So actually a loss of a yard there, 3rd down and 5, and interesting call here because I don't know if you think that this could be 4-down territory for the Bearcats or not.
Well, it doesn't have to be because Coach Ortega feels much more confident in his kicking game this week, and we'll get to that later.
Davis looking across the middle, and the pass is caught.
No signal yet?
Touchdown.
I was going to say there's got to be a signal here by someone.
And Davis drills it in there. Joe Kennedy, number 42, the tight end, did a great job of hanging on to the football because he took a shot right as the ball got to him, was able to hang on for the York High score.
That was quite a pass. It really came zipping in there, almost stuck between the numbers.
And here's Ethan Fair, the newest addition to the York High roster, a 9th grader doing the place kicking end. His kick is up and good, and the Bearcats lead it with 4:53 to go in the first quarter, 7-0. And I'll let you tell the story. Pretty neat story.
Well, it was. I mean, I said to Coach Ortega before the game, I said, how's your kicking game coming along? Because there's a touchdown one more time, drilled it in there, and he just fell right inside the end zone. I don't know why it was taking him so long to make a call on that, because he just really dropped right across the goal line as soon as he caught it. But I said, how's your kicking game coming along? Because that's been kind of an Achilles heel for them. And he said, well, I think I've solved the problems. And just kind of hesitated, and he said, I went to the soccer team when in doubt.
Yeah.
So number 46, Ethan Fair, who just put that one through, is off the soccer team. As a matter of fact, not unlike, remember years ago the New Oxford team used a lot of soccer kickers. Well, a lot of people do. But they need to get driven to the game because they have a soccer match earlier on a Friday, and then someone brings them to the game. They suit up and do a double duty.
Yeah, in fact, we were talking to Coach Ortega about 45 minutes before the kickoff, and he said, oh, he's not here yet, but he's on his way. So soccer match after school, football game that evening.
3 plays, 32 seconds, 11 yards, but really set up by the snap over the head of the punter. So Central actually by field position giving that score almost into the laps of the Bearcats.
Jenneret to kick it away for York High. Kick takes Calhoun almost over to the sideline, trying to go to the other sideline. Looking to get to the corner, and not going to do so as he gets it out to about the 17-yard line. Harold Beatty, 24, one of the guys in on the tackle.
Good coverage that time. Beatty did a good job of staying home. He stayed wide, taking care of his lane, and the play came to him. So let's see if Central now can get a drive going here and get some confidence on offense.
Yeah, this is kind of a big sequence for the Panthers. I think you're right, Craig. I think they need to get some positive things going here, and
they're not running the ball well, and they're not throwing the ball well here early.
Flag on the play, handoff to Schilt.
Schilt with the carry, gets nice gain out across the 20-yard line, but a penalty flag again, and it's going to go against Central once again. So the Panthers,
they're just they're hurting themselves.
Yeah.
Their number of penalties here in this first quarter are just excessive.
And this time the Bearcats are going to accept the penalty.
Go, Falcon!
Of course, I can't make Brad Livingston or Matt Baker happy with that continuing.
And that's one of the problems with a big rivalry game like this, Craig. Sometimes you get so fired up you kind of lose that focus and got to sort of settle back in and get into the game. So 1st and 15 for Central. Ryan Wolf in motion.
Got another flag on the play. We'll see whether offsides or drawn.
Head in the hole.
Anderson Henry getting a little jumpy there. So they're going to give the 5 yards back to Central.
So we'll go back to 1st and 10 and we'll try it again.
Good job. B13. B13.
Move it back to the original line of scrimmage. Play it again. 1st and 10.
Backs in the eye behind Workinger.
Workinger.
Delay handoff. But I'll tell you what, delay handoffs, Craig, I don't think we're going to go anywhere tonight because York High's getting into that backfield.
Their penetration right now is 5, 6, 7 yards deep. I mean, Brandon Walker was right there. He was basically there at the time the handoff was given. Central's offensive line right now are not really blocking anybody, and I'm not saying that's an easy task.
But if they're going to win this football game, they're going to have to block. Here you see poor Blaine Liggins nowhere to go. White jerseys all around there. 74 just waiting too. Escobar. So 2nd down and long for the Panthers. This time Liggins
Trying to get around the
right side and running hard, gets out across the 15 and back to about the original line of scrimmage.
Gain of about 7, maybe.
So still 3rd and long for the Panthers. There you see Liggins, who has moved back into the tailback position, had been in a wide out position, and Coach Brad Livingston said, this guy's been dynamite with the football. We got to get the ball in his hands more.
Interesting to see what they go with here. You got to figure they're going to throw the ball, but they haven't thrown it effectively yet.
Well, they got to protect and give Brandon Workinger a little bit of time.
And about 10.
Play action. Workinger has some time. Has Liggins. And Liggins brought down.
Gonna be close.
I think just shy of the 1st down mark.
That's going to depend on that mark, I'll tell you.
And that'll make it 4th down for the Panthers.
You'll see, oh, the knee goes down. Good call by the official.
About a half a yard shy of the 1st down, and Kelly quickly out in punt formation for the Panthers.
Wind still not a factor.
A little bit of a low snap this time, but Kelly kicks it, and Kinert's going to let it roll, and it takes a great bounce. If you're a Central Panther fan, down to about the 22-yard line, so an outstanding punt by Kelly.
Looked like a miscommunication there on they really needed to catch that ball or fair catch it or down it, because it got about another 15 or 20 yards there as you take a look at what is a very good-sized crowd here tonight on both sides of the field. 52-yard kick, and probably 17 of that was on a roll.
Any punter at any level will take that one.
Let's go, D!
So 1st and 10 for the Bearcats.
Walker in the backfield. Davis behind him. 1st and 10. The pitch is to Richardson. Richardson in the corner. He's got running room. He's going to be.
And boy, just running over people is Robert Richardson, and Richardson again. They give him that handoff, Craig, kind of when he's already got on a dead run, and boy, he's tough.
And he's 6'2", 205. Right. And I'll never forget going back to before the first game of the year, down on the field with Coach Ortega, said, see number 9 over there? He's going to do some running for us too, because we were talking a lot about Mike Kinert, because Kinert scored a big touchdown last year in overtime for the Bearcats. but he said Richardson's going to be a big contributor too, and guess what? He has been.
So Bearcat first down out to the 34. Kiner trying to go the other direction. Boy, makes a stutter step and a great move, and still on his feet and close to another first down. He literally froze the Central defender.
He does. And I'll tell you the other thing I like that he does, he's very patient.
Right.
I mean, we watch him here. He's stutter stepping, but he's also watching where his blocks are coming from. And he saw, I think it was number 51 coming out there. He knew he could come off his back, and he just picks his spots. He's a very patient runner and a very strong runner.
Torrey Wagner, number 15, had the unenviable task of trying to tackle Kiner one-on-one. Boy, that's not easy to do. So another Bearcat first down out to the 44. Play action, Davis looking, has a receiver, and caught just above the shoe tops down into Central territory. Number 15 is Kevin Kearse. And I'll tell you, give Jordan Davis credit because the ball left his hands before Kearse ever made his break.
Yeah, the timing was very good on this, a play fake right there. This is a tough throw because the defense is bearing down on him. Pretty strong arm to the outside, but that catch was excellent. Kearse is just a sophomore. I tell you what, both these teams are mixing a lot of young people in.
Central 44 is the spot. Another first down for the Bearcats. Kiner in motion. He's getting that underneath handoff. Sheds one tackler, gets around another guy, now has the corner. Down to the 30, head down and down to the 25-yard line.
And I tell you what, that was a missed tackle opportunity. Tyler Gray did a great job of getting into the backfield, the 6'1", 223-pound senior defensive end, but he doesn't wrap up. And Kiner just pulls away from him. And that's part speed, just getting to the outside and the strength in the legs from the waist down.
And Central is going to call a timeout. And here you get a look at it once again. And there's that first tackle by Gray that's missed. And then Kiner with enough speed to get to the corner and then watch him put the head down, boom, and get another couple yards. Do you get a sense, Craig, even from up here, I get a sense of real confidence on this York High side?
Absolutely. I think they got caught off guard on that onside kick to start the game. And I think once their defense took care of that situation,
and I'll tell you what, I mean, certainly we saw them against Reading. It was week one. You know, it's a first game, feeling out kind of a thing. But I think the move of Jordan Davis to quarterback, Jennerette out to the wide out position has really solidified this offense.
Well, I couldn't agree more, but the thing that has allowed him to do that is the defense.
Right.
They've been consistent from the very first play of the very first game. So while they're taking care of business and keeping the other team from scoring, you can move your pieces around to the way you want them on offense. So by week 4, the first week of the league, boom, you're in sync.
And that's what looks to be happening here as York High just going right down the field thus far, down to the Panther 25 with another first down. And mix up of signals there, and that's going to cost York High 5 yards, I believe.
You don't want that happening after a timeout. You ought to have everybody on the same page.
Yep, so the Bearcats are going to get pushed back to the 30-yard line, 1st and 15. Once again, 4 wide receivers, single back behind Davis. Kiner in motion, he's going to get the carry, and this time the Central defense is there and waiting.
Turnabout is fair play, and Central had 3 black shirts in the backfield that time, one of which was number 25 for the Panthers, James English.
You see Tyler Wilcox, number 28, also there on the play, but Central, boy, waiting for that one, and drops Kiner for about a 3-yard loss, so 2nd down and long for the Bearcats. Davis, straight drop, getting flushed out of the pocket, has some room to run, needs a block, and runs off the block, does a great job, and gets down to about the 10-yard line. And again, Central's defense, penetration in the backfield, flushing Davis out of there. He was able to keep his composure and had a nice running lane, got some good downfield blocking too.
Andre Callum, number 11, the 5'11 junior, is going to give him a good screen block right here, which allows him to get even more to the outside and get maybe another 5 to 7 yards. So not even penalties are just disgruntling this York High offense tonight. They have a penalty, they come right back, get first downs. They have a broken pattern, they come back and scramble out of it. A lot of things going right for the Bearcats tonight.
First and goal just inside of the 10 and flipping it out there to Kynard. One man to beat and Mike Kynard into the end zone for a York High touchdown. And that was an impressive drive.
It really was. They ran the ball well, they threw the ball well. And obviously Jordan Davis scrambled well when he had to. So York High looking very, very confident here in the first quarter. Still, well, just a few ticks of the clock left, 17.6 seconds.
Ethan Fair in to attempt the extra point. Kick is blocked.
Good press right up through the middle. That's not the kicker's fault. There was a black shirt right there when the ball took off.
And remember, his first week of active duty, so got to work the kinks out with the kicking game. But York High jumping out here in this first quarter, just 17.6 seconds remaining, and the Bearcats lead at 13-0. Well, if you're a Central Panther player, coach, fan, this is not the script you hoped for to start the game tonight.
Well, again, I go back to the fact it's so early in the game, but they've got to get something together consistently on offense. They've really been able to generate nothing on offense, and as a result, they're in a situation where they're down by 13 points.
But don't forget, last year, the Bearcats led the Panthers 14-0 at the end of the first quarter.
That's why I say it's way too early.
So Jenneret to kick it away. For York High. Liggins, the dangerous Lamar Calhoun, back deep for Central. Liggins on a couple hops from the 13. And dragged down from behind just as he crosses the 20-yard line.
Number 85 that time, Anderson Henry.
Talked about him in week number 1 with a couple big defensive plays.
Yeah, it's kind of surprising. It tells you how Matt Ortega is working at this point in, what, year 4 for him? Yeah, his 4th season. He's still playing guys on both sides of the ball and on special teams because Anderson Henry is a defensive end. Kynard's playing both ways. So he wants to put the best people in the best spots to win while he mixes in some younger players.
No backs. Look at the pressure up the middle, and Ballblitz makes the catch and dragging out of some tacklers and gets out to near the 40-yard line for a Central first down. Well, if you want to get the ball to a big guy, he's the man. Kyle Ballblitz, just a 10th grader, but 6'5", 244 pounds.
Yeah, it's a good throw and catch here, and he takes guys with him. There was pressure on the quarterback, and once he caught it, turned upfield, took another couple yards with guys on his back.
And that'll bring us to the end of the first quarter of action. Well, it's been pretty much all York High in quarter number 1, and they lead it after 12 minutes, 13-0.
How do I speed up a passport application? For a trip I'm taking.
Don't bring your government questions to just anyone. Go to the official source, brisgov.gov, from local weather to student loans.
You could really use some people's skills.
Hey, how do I get in on a government auction? You know, like for a car?
Go to firstgov.gov. From changing your address to government auctions to renewing your driver's license.
And don't everybody chime in at once.
What's early retirement going to do to my Social Security? Hello?
Firstgov.gov. From Social Security to Medicare, it's a monumental source of information about federal, state, and local government.
You did work for the government, right?
Varsity Sports Zone's coverage of York Area League High School football. We start quarter number 2. The Panthers have the football, and the carry goes to Blaine Liggins for a short gain. Well, York High ahead on the scoreboard, and Craig Smith, they're ahead in the stats too.
Yeah, they are. That final play of the first quarter for the Panthers was their first down, and York High has really balanced the attack. 10 rushes for 67 yards in the first quarter, 4 of 4 passing, 38 yards, 105 total yards, 8 first downs, no turnovers. Central, 7 rushes for -2 yards. Obviously, that includes the sacks as well. 2 of 3 passing for 26 yards, 24 total yards for the Panthers in the first quarter, and just that 1 first down that I alluded to at the end of the first quarter.
So
well,
Liggins gets
the first one will be a 2.
Second down and 7. Looking as a receiver and just overthrown. Schilt, the intended receiver, so that's going to set up a 3rd and 7 for Central. Workinger knows it too, Craig. He knows the pressure's coming and knows he has to get rid of the football. Thus far, it hasn't looked like he's really got his feet settled and comfortable in that pocket.
Well, you can argue what you want about defenses, but when a team comes in having allowed 0 points against Reading, McCaskey, and Susquehannock, you know that you're facing a quality defense.
This time, Workinger has the time, and it's intercepted. And picked off and down to the 45-yard line of Central. Carl Barnes, number 6, stepped in front of Boblets and has the York High interception.
Well, Central has run only 13 offensive plays tonight. 6 of those have gone for no gain or a loss. And now, you said it, Chris, he gets protection here. Good setting of the feet, and Barnes just jumps in front and makes the pick. Good read by him. It really was. Yep. Defensively, he just waited, and then he went for the passing lane instead of the man.
So York High with a 13-point lead in the ball in Central territory, and Davis goes right into the shotgun. Pressure, and Davis flips it out and right through the hands of Kiner. 2nd down and 10, and Kiner was going to have a tough time anyhow. There were 3 black jerseys bearing down on him.
Yeah, David Arbroar was coming up fast, and I can't help but think that Mike Kiner didn't sense that. Plus, that pass was zipped pretty good as well.
So 2nd and 10.
They could do a lot with Jordan Davis out of this shotgun with no backs back there.
5 wide receivers. Look at the pressure from Central. They get it to Kiner. Makes 1 miss. Look out. Calhoun trying to get him, and Kiner just keeps fighting him off. Man, I'll tell you.
And Andre Callum again. Did you see the block from number 11? Kiner was doing a lot on his own, and then he got help from a teammate. And Chris, I'd like to say that's what they're talking about, chemistry. Guys helping each other out. Look at this. He's going to get out of the first tackle. Pulls it off the shoulder pads. Then he gets to the outside with a stiff arm, and there's the block to Springing, and he keeps that left hand extended and gets the first down. They are just playing with so much confidence. That was the same play. They went back to the same play.
Down to the Central 27, a shotgun formation once again. Pressure, and Davis. I thought he was going to get out of there, Craig. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 black jerseys, and finally they get down Jordan Davis.
If he got out of there, he's a magician because he was surrounded by black shirts. The penetration that time was as good as it's been all night long for the Central defense. They really came hard. There was lots of them there. Well, you almost feel like this might have been a screen pass the way guys got through. I mean, they just swarmed Jordan Davis.
Well, it's interesting, too, because maybe we can get a shot of this, but the Central defensive line, there's almost nobody down in a stance. Everybody's upright. Nobody down in that three-point stance. Maybe one guy. See, everybody's up. It's almost like you're facing a whole team of linebackers. Davis looking, has protection, throwing deep, has a receiver, and just overthrown, but I'll tell you what, not a bad throw at all. Richardson, the intended receivers, you see him get up there. Just past the outstretched arms of Robert Richardson.
This almost looks like a play like you'd see in the backyard, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to all spread out. Those guys are going to be standing up. We're all going to run down the field to the end zone, and I'll try to hit one of you. Just, I'll tell you what, didn't miss by much.
No.
I think the dimension of York High has changed so much under Matt Ortega. You're seeing a lot of different looks. And
Davis rolling. Now getting some pressure, but he has some running room, has some blockers. Down to the 30, down to the 25, and pushed out of bounds at about the 23.
You know, it wasn't too many years ago that York High was in the wishbone.
Right.
And what he's brought to them in terms of offense has been much more diversity, and I think using skilled players much more effectively. Fake here. I don't know how he gets out of this one again. Again, he gets some pretty good help from his teammates. Guys bumping black shirts off so that he can scramble.
Wolfie. So 4th down after that run and about 6 yards to go for the Bearcats. I'd say this is a pretty big play. Central really needs to stop here to get the football back in their offense's hands. Kynard pitch. And finally brought down. Central, their defense does the job.
Chris, you pointed out it's a very interesting defensive formation. With everybody standing up, no rule says you have to be down in a three-point stance.
Joe, do something with it.
Tyler Wilcox. And the legal procedure penalty against York High is going to be declined, so Central will take over. But Tyler Wilcox was the guy just hanging on to the ankle of Jordan Davis until some of his friends could get there.
You okay?
So the Central defense does its job, and now it's really it's time for the Central offense. They need to put some things together here. And you know, you prepare against a defense like York High, and you can prepare all you want, but you really don't have a good enough feel until you actually face them. Central's had a couple offensive possessions. We'll see if they make some changes here. Power eye, Liggins, head down, out across the 30. Nice gain on 1st down. Pretty simple. It was a power eye, Craig, and Liggins just following the blockers into the hole.
Liggins not a big back, 5'9", 155. This is junior. Of course, Parrish Fells, 5'5", 135. So small tailbacks this year for the Panthers.
Pick up a 5 in the play, 2nd down and 5. Same formation in the backfield, no wide receivers. Liggins, same play and same result. Looks like maybe just shy of a 1st down. We'll see where the spot is. It might be pretty close.
Looks like Central's made a decision to line up and go with a power attack, go right at York High, see if they can get them back on their heels rather than trying to get around the end and rather running wide where the speed of York High has taken its toll on the Panthers.
And it is a 1st down for Central. One of the things the Panthers were trying to do early was some of those delayed kind of misdirection handoffs, and York High's penetration was just killing those plays. So now the Panthers decide, well, you know what, we're going to go right at them. Liggins has been the carrier the first 2 times in this possession, and the same setup again. Same play, and this time York High's defense does a little better job. You see 6 Carl Barnes in there along with Brandon Walker. Pickup of just 2, so 2nd down and 8. It's kind of funny. We saw the kitchen sink. We saw everything in that first quarter. It's kind of back to simple meat and potatoes now.
Settle down. Yeah, it really has.
This time Gray out in the slot, backs in the eye. Delayed at Liggins, running room, into the secondary, head down, and very close. I think he's going to have another Central first down.
Good blocking up front at the point of attack by the Panthers on this series.
And on the left side of that offensive line, who's over there? Mr. Tribune.
Yeah, number 70 in your program, and he opens some big holes here. Good backside blocking there. And then Liggins definitely taking on the York High defense.
So another Central first down, and now the Bearcats.
First time out of the half.
It's kind of interesting, Craig, because this game is somewhat mirroring last year's game in that York High jumps out to the lead. Central having trouble with the running the misdirection delay stuff. Second quarter last year, they make the decision, you know what, we're going to run right at York High just like they're doing tonight. And they got themselves back in the game last year. We'll see if the Panthers can do it again.
I think it's a good timeout call by York High and opportunity to kind of rethink what they're doing against this type of offense. You know, Workinger hasn't thrown the ball that well. Maybe they want to bring more guys up in the box and try to shut this down. See how they make the adjustment here. Does look like everybody's cheating up a little bit.
Well, there's no wide receivers in this formation for Central. And second back this time is T.J. Schaefer, number 47, a 5'8", 165-pound junior, and Schaefer picks up a yard, spotted the football right on the Panther paw.
Ron Kennedy, number 54, 6'1", 270-pound defensive tackle junior, just was the first one to get a hand on him, slow him down. They're big up front, but so is Central. But, you know, it's just right across that line of scrimmage right now is not an easy place to be playing.
Second down and 9. Delay handoff, Liggins. And maybe back to the line of scrimmage. Might have squeezed out a yard, but it's going to be 3rd and long for the Panthers. It's kind of funny. 2 first downs by the Panthers, impressive running. Coach Matt Ortega calls a timeout. 2 plays stuffed.
Yeah. Now this, you know, I've always been favoring the tight end. I would go back to Bob Laskin. He's big, he's got good hands. If he catches it and he's not quite at the first down marker, he can take people there. Let's see where they go with this.
There's that power eye again. They're going to Liggins, and not much running room there. Again, into the backfield. And this time, Sterling Daniels, number 21, got in there, didn't make the tackle, but really broke the play up. And there you see, just what it did was just slowed Liggins up, made him think a little bit and fight off of that first tackler. It gave his teammates some time to get to the ball, and so Central is going to have to punt it away.
So every time they've kind of run to the wide part of the field, York High's been able to string that out, close it down, and shut them down.
White, second time out of the half.
That was simply a mix-up or an organizational problem there, not having the right personnel on the field.
Right.
There was no strategic reason for calling that timeout.
You see 5:34 to go until halftime. York High leads at 13-0, and first week of the league season. And I'll tell you, we talked about it early, and Coach Brad Livingston said it tonight to us. He goes, I'll be very shocked if anybody runs the table in Division I.
I don't disagree with that. It's not an easy road to go down. I certainly think that this is a key game tonight for these teams to get off to a good start, because I think these two are among the best in Division I. Can't quite get a read yet, like on Southwestern. I think Redline, I wouldn't say they struggle with Suburban, but it took a lot of turnovers on the part of Suburban for Redline to put them away last week. I think it was 21-6. So you just, as they start to play each other, you'll be able to gauge it.
Yep. So York High gets the right people out on the field.
And it's like Brad said tonight before the game. We'll know tonight after the game, 10 o'clock. We'll know how we stack up.
Good snap this time, Kelly. Nice high kick. And Callum probably makes a wise decision there as he lets the ball go with the Central defender very close by. So York High will take over and start at about their 17-yard line.
So 5:25 to go in the first half. York High holding on to that 13-0 lead. All those points coming in the first quarter.
So Jordan Davis and this York High offense back out on the field.
Ryder in the backfield. Davis in the center.
Flag play. Kiner gets the carry and is brought down behind the line of scrimmage. And this defense that Central is employing here tonight, Craig, has got to be confusing for the offensive line of York High. Who do you block?
Well, because I think what makes it confusing is it looks to me like they're about an extra half yard to yard off the line of scrimmage.
Right.
So you're right. Your normal blocking route or the distance or the length of that you got to get to your player has changed dramatically.
It's almost like your blocking schemes, your angles, everything is just quite a bit different here tonight with the way Central's playing defense. And
certainly it's something perhaps after the game or in the weeks to come here when I run into Russell Stone, or the defensive coordinator for Central York, I definitely want to ask him about it. Where did he pick it up? What's the philosophy of it? There you go. They're all, they're really off the line of scrimmage. You're right, like an attack.
And here's the flip out, and Jenneret makes the catch and out across the 25. And I'll tell you what, he's moved from quarterback to wide receiver. He's every bit as dangerous at the wide receiver spot.
Absolutely. He's almost, they list him as 6'4". I think he's 6'5" easy. And good size to him, and big target there for Jordan Davis to throw to.
So Jenneret's catch gets back a lot of that yardage. It's going to bring up second down. A little bit over a yard. Davis, straight drop, flips it out, has a receiver, it's Callum, and Callum with the catch and the run out near the 40-yard line for a Bearcat first down.
I'll tell you, Jordan
Davis missed the long pass into the end zone to Richardson. I think he's connected on everything else.
Well, he was 4 for 4 in the first quarter. So he was perfect in the first quarter for 38 yards, 4 for 4. And I believe you're right. He just might have missed that one. He's very confident when he throws that out pattern, or I should say just that real strong throw across the field.
First down.
And this sounds stupid, Chris, but his receivers are catching the ball too.
Yeah. Got to do that.
How about the catch earlier off the shoe tops?
Right.
I mean, it was a good throw, but a little low, and the receiver went down and got it.
Well, Fredo Martinez, the ball carrier that time, and that time the offensive line really did some great blocking. Martinez picks up 8. And York High starting to march the football again.
We'll give you a little bit different dimension there, giving the ball to the fullback Martinez. You know, you start thinking Kynard, and Davis, and then Martinez gets the ball.
Well, they split Kynard out here. He's in the slot on the near side. Martinez the lone back. They flip it out. Callum with the catch. Turns it upfield down to the Central 43, and that's another Bearcat first down. And Central's playing off of those wide receivers, and York High's taking advantage of it.
And what was interesting about that pattern they've used before, and they've been throwing it to Kynard right there. Kynard looked like he knew that was not intended for him because he didn't even go after it, but he was in that spot where he's caught it earlier in this game several times. So really changing that up.
First down.
Underneath the off to Kynard. Looking for some blocks outside, and hit as he gets near the 40. Going to be a pickup of a couple.
There were no blocks to be had there. There was only black shirts. Good job by the Panthers. When they swarm and they get penetration, they're a much bit more effective team. Look at that. Good job there. He didn't make the tackle, but he disrupted that whole play. Bryce King, number 26. Once he did that and forced Kynard to go even wider and further back, his teammates could come up and make the play.
Second down and 8 for the Bearcats. Walker. And wide open and through the hands of Kevin Kearse. And I'll tell you what, there was a mix-up because Kevin Kearse was wide open.
That looked like pregame pitch and catch.
Yeah.
Oh, man, Davis must have been just drooling when he saw this. No black shirts around him. Just a little high and a little behind him, but I'm sure he had that back. He'd say, I should have caught the ball.
So third down and 8 for the Bearcats. I'll tell you, Craig, when this dimension of Jordan Davis throwing the football just really makes the Bearcats tough to defend.
He told Coach Ortega the night before the scrimmage with Glenn Mills, Coach, I'm going to win this job. I really want to play quarterback this year. Well, that time the Panthers played him. Man, he really got sacked that time.
And fumbled the football, and Central is going to take over. David Arbor, the guy who sacks Jordan Davis. So Central is going to take over at the York High 48. And there you see the loose football, and the Panthers able to fall on it. Mike Anderson, number 48, with the fumble recovery. 2:05 to go in the first half, and boy, this is the opportunity Central has needed.
Got the turnover, got the good field position as a result of the turnover. And another challenge for the York High defense.
Working her protection pretty good. The pass and intercepted. Oh, what a great interception.
Wow, Callum tipped it in the air. He tipped it in the air and then brought it down and got his body underneath it on the field.
Pass intended for Ryan Wolf. Watch this one. Man, this is a great individual effort.
Good tip, gets the ball, cradles it in. I'll tell you what, Andre Callum has done a lot tonight for this team. How many times I called him on blocks downfield, and then he intercepts a pass, and he's contributing on defense.
And you know, you start talking about Callum and Jordan Davis and Mike Kynard and Robert Richardson, and man, the weapons, Malik Jeanneret. Right.
Wilfredo Martinez when they need him up the middle,
right,
blocking for Kynard.
Carl Barnes made the previous interception. So the Bearcats get it right back at the 44. Davis in the shotgun, getting pressure, flips it out there, and ball's going to fall incomplete. Intended for Jeanneret, and Jeanneret really went after the football, but good defense by two Central players that time.
Boy, it looks like York High really believes we could throw on these guys. Yep. They're just coming right at them now with the pass. I'd say there's two passes, though, that York High would like to have back. That one that was dropped by Kearse when he was wide open. Yep. That had touchdown written all over it. And just that misconnection deep in the end zone.
So second down and 10. Richardson in motion. Walker, left side, head down and out to the 50-yard line. And with 1:45 and counting, York High, now I don't know if they're content to just sit on this thing, but they got to be happy with where they're at right now.
Well, they got the clock moving, keeping it on the ground that time, a 13-point lead. And their defense is pitching another shutout.
So 3rd and 4. Panthers showing blitz. Davis able to complete it and gets it out to the outside, and plenty for a first down to Richardson and out of bounds. And that's going to stop the clock with 1:07 and moves the chains.
And they keep throwing that. The Central defensive backs don't want to come up and bite on it because they're concerned that if they miss, then the guy's going to be off to the end zone. When they play back, if they come up on it, then the receiver takes off down the field. So they're sort of playing it fairly conservatively, and I understand that. But what's happening is they're chipping their way down the field now.
So 1st and 10 at the Panther 40. And movement that time. And you see Davis was going for Jenneret down the sideline. I think that's going to go against the Bearcats. And it's going to be offside against York High. Usually that means somebody lined up in the neutral zone. So it's going to cost York High 5 yards back to the 45, 1st and 15. I think we're resetting the clock up here in the booth to 1:07. Shotgun, Davis, pressure, going across the middle, Jenneret with the catch, and a first down for York High. And I'll tell you, I'm really impressed with Jordan Davis. That time, he had like 3 black jerseys right in his face and was able to hang in there, Craig, and deliver the ball.
And right before that play, Gary Miller hands me a stat. Jordan Davis was 9 for 13. Now he's 10 for 14. I'm saying 20 yards on that. 123 yards and 2 touchdowns, no intercepts.
Wow. So 1st and 10 down at the Panther 28. Richardson in motion. Walker left side, running room, get to the outside, and down inside of the 10. Marked out of bounds at about the 8-yard line.
What a well-conceived offensive drive. No fear in passing the ball against the Central defense. Running, mixing the run in as needed, judiciously but effectively, using Wilfredo Martinez, using number 32.
And here's Brandon Walker.
Using Mike Kiner.
There's Callum again providing a screen. Didn't really block anybody, but was able to screen off some people.
Absolutely. He was effective.
So 1st and goal from the 8.
Only thing now factors the clock, 41 seconds in the half.
Walker, second back, down, maybe to the 6. You see the clock ticking down to about the 30-second mark. York High's got to get a play in. You see Davis wanting to get that play off. The Bearcats quickly back to the line of scrimmage on 2nd and goal. Davis looking, throwing, end zone, touchdown, York High, Jenneret, and the play was designed to go to Richardson on the outside, and Davis read it and hit Jenneret right in stride.
And you know what's amazing? Remember Coach Ortega before the game said, nothing bothers Jordan Davis. I'm thinking the clock's ticking, man. Get up there and snap the ball. No problem. He looked over the defense, and you're right, Chris. He picked out a secondary receiver. He is just having a phenomenal game.
Ethan Fair in to attempt the extra point. Remember the last one got blocked. And this one is no good, wide to the left, but just 12 seconds remaining in the first half. And I'll tell you, I could, after week 1 against Reading, and here's that throw by Davis, perfect to generate right on the run into the end zone.
Absolutely. That was just a thing of beauty.
It was. And right here, maybe we'll run this again. Right here, Davis is looking for Richardson on the outside.
And then he comes back to the middle and picks out Malik Jeanneret. That is a great read, a tremendous read. That was a 7-play, 56-yard drive, took 1 minute and 46 seconds off the clock and left just 12 seconds for the Panthers to try to get a run back.
After week 1, when York High defeated Reading and we had that game here on Comcast, I think we both walked away from that game scratching our heads, just not knowing what to think about this Bearcat team.
Yeah, well, and because we didn't have a sense of how good Reading is or was going to be. So
I got to tell you, through the first half tonight, this is a good York High team. And I think
good.
Even a better York High team with Jordan Davis at quarterback and Jeanneret at a wideout.
Yeah. You know who else is having a good night tonight besides Jordan Davis? Our statistician, Gary Miller. It's almost halftime in week 4, and he's got his T-shirt on.
Yeah, I know.
This is like unbelievable.
It's wonderful.
You see he's in a hoodie by now, and you know, a couple insulated jackets and maybe possibly gloves.
So Jeanneret, who just caught the touchdown to kick it off, and Squibb kicks it short, and Central falls on it. Just 10 seconds to go until halftime.
Numbers compiled as always by Gary Miller, Paul Goodemode, and Bo Rule.
We saw Drew Horn, number 67, the guy who falls on that Squibb kick.
I think Central, well, I don't know. Brad's always been kind of a gambler, so I'm not going to say they're going to take a knee. But down 20-0, the worst thing could happen would be a thrown interception or something like that that gets returned. So we'll see how they go here. They are going to take a knee. I think that's good. That's wise. Get regrouped, come out here in the third quarter and see what you can do from the start.
Well, one half of football in the books, and it's been all York High. The Bearcats are 3-0 and looking like they want to go to 4-0. They lead Central at halftime, 19-0.
Moving is so much of who we are. It's easy to take it for granted. Multiple sclerosis stops people from moving. We exist to make sure it doesn't. The National Multiple Sclerosis Society is a collective of passionate individuals united by a common goal to address the challenges of each person whose life is affected by MS. We believe that moving is not just something you can or can't do, but rather is who you are. That if you are alive, you move along with, because of, and in spite of the great big turning world. Join the movement, the National Multiple Sclerosis Society, at nationalmssociety.org.
Welcome back to third quarter action here from Central. The Bearcats kick it off, and Liggins with a good return and down the sideline, cross midfield, 40, 30, and finally dropped down, but not before he gets down to the Bearcat 28-yard line. And
well, maybe just the spark they need.
Yeah, just a shot in the arm the Panthers needed, because I'll tell you, these first half stats, Craig, are all Bearcats.
Look at that total yards, 219 to 48, favor York High. 14 first downs to just 3 for the Panthers. The 2 turnovers by Central hurt them. Time of possession not really a factor, and York High putting 19 points on the board.
Well, interestingly, to start this second half, sophomore James Culp, number 17, coming in at quarterback for Central. And right away, going to go right into the shotgun. Central with its best field position of the evening, and a flag on first down. And a pretty good gain, but I think that gain's going to come back. And we talked about those team statistics, and individually, when you face York High, Craig, this is what you're going to go up against. You got Mike Kynard, 7 carries, 29 yards, a couple catches for 28 yards and a touchdown. It's actually going to go against York High, so Central will be the beneficiary. Robert Richardson, 2 carries for 25 yards, a catch for 10 yards. Malik Jenneret, 3 catches, 37 yards, and a touchdown. How about Andre Callum? The first half he had 3 catches, 33 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. Jordan Davis, 11 for 15. Wow, it was an impressive first half.
It was a good first half, and now Chris are bringing it back the other way.
Well, they're actually
they're going to take the penalty.
Yep,
okay.
They're going to take the penalty, so it'll march it down to about the 23-yard line. It'll give Central a 1st and 5. And if you're a Panther fan, this is just what you hope to see to start this third quarter.
Quite a spark there by Liggins to get them ignited here at the outset.
So Culp again in the shotgun. 3 wide receivers split out here to the near side. Underneath handoff, and not going anywhere is Cly Schilt, and Schilt is going to be brought down right at the line of scrimmage. So again, penetration by that York High defense. Anderson Henry, number 85, in on the tackle for the Bearcats. And it's going to be 2nd down and 5. So you see Culp coming on, getting the play from the sideline on 2nd and 5. And you hate to say it's an absolute, but I think the Panthers have to score here, Craig, one way or another.
Well, I think psychologically for them, it's very important. They need to get some points on the board. It could be a field goal. Certainly they want a touchdown.
And Central calls a timeout because they were basically not even to the line of scrimmage yet, and I saw the
first time out of the half
go up, which would have been a delay of game. So quickly, Coach Brad Livingston notices that and burns a Central timeout. And I think he knows we can't squander this opportunity. We have to make sure we cash in here.
The managers ran out with water, and I don't think one guy even turned around and looked.
Now I got to tell you, there's a heated discussion led by Coach Brad Livingston. There's not a lot of times that he gets into a heated discussion, and when he does, he means business.
He's a very even-keeled guy, but you're right. There's a reason for that, and I'm sure he wanted to get a message across to his offensive team, and I think he got it across.
Well, we will see. 2nd down and 5. Culp under center this time, backs in the eye. Culp gonna flip it out there, boy, and wisely throws it away because they were trying to set up something for Liggins, and there, before the ball was even thrown, was Darnell Brown, 41, and Anderson Henry, 85, just blanketing Liggins.
Well, Culp is 5'10", 165, just a sophomore. It was wise of him to avoid the sack, but I'll tell you what, there were 2 white shirts out there, and Callum was one of them.
Yep. So 3rd and 5 for Central. And I'm not even sure what a field goal does for you if you're the Panthers at this point, Craig. Alex Kelly, we know, has a good leg. Here comes the pressure. Culp hangs in there and overthrows it, and it's going to be intercepted. And Kynard has it and brought down at about the 10-yard line. So the big kick return goes for naught. The York High defense once again makes the play.
Well, just to answer your question, Chris, the points on the board, any way they could get them right here. And this was, again, more pressure on the quarterback. He just throws it out there, not really seeing. I don't think he really saw his target there. And they were just was just right there to pick it off. But I think a team needs to get offensive points on the board against York High to break the psychological barrier.
And Davis with the quarterback keeper.
And if you got 3 points on the board, then you're 2 scores away with 2 two-point conversions.
Right.
I know that's a reach, but you've got to get something established here.
Yep, no question about it. So you see Davis back into the York High huddle. 2nd down and 7 for the Bearcats. Richardson in motion. And across the right side, and some good running room that time for Brandon Walker. And Walker gets a nice gain on second down. Gonna bring up third and about a short 2. Here you see Walker coming right at you. Ball blitz 84, one of the first guys in on the tackle. He is the leading tackler on this Central defense.
With 6'5", 244 too.
You can see why.
Yeah.
So third and short.
Interesting now, they're more in a traditional defense, Chris. Down lineman going against York High rather than that stand-up position like all linebackers in the first half.
Walker trying to get to the outside, and he's not going to do it. Central does a nice job of stringing that play out. David Arbor, number 27, makes the tackle behind the line of scrimmage, and it's going to be 4th down.
Good defensive stand that time by the Panthers. Didn't allow York High to get anything started.
Stephante Dobie in punt formation for the Bearcats. We mentioned we saw him kicking some nice ones. This is a low line drive, and Calhoun takes it at the 42. Makes some people miss, and a fumble on the play, and a flag also, and I think York High may have recovered the fumble.
And I think it was a block in the back by the Panthers, so I think 2 bad things happened on this play, but let's wait and let the referee sort it out. Clearly the ball popped loose, and York High was on it.
And it's really a matter of what the flag is all about.
Brad Engel recovers the fumble for the Bearcats.
Surely they'll decline and take the ball.
Central. It's a fumble. Ball is recovered by York High. The penalty is declined. 1st and 10, York.
So the 3rd turnover of the game for Central is costly once again because that was a very returnable punt.
Well, our first half was a lot of York High, and our highlights are going to show that as Jordan Davis starts it with the touchdown pass to Joe Kennedy. Then Jordan Davis again, this time to Kynard for a touchdown. And then how about Jordan Davis again? The York High defense continues to shine. This play by Callum, a tremendous interception. And then the final points of the first half, this was really impressive. To Jennerette, the second receiver. And this is another special young man, Hunter, and you see his picture there in magazine, a nice little feature on that young guy and his fight with cancer and what tremendous support he's got from this Central football program and the Central community.
Yep, Tucker's team.
So we come back at 2nd down and 10 for the Bearcats.
So the first half highlights were all York High, and first half was all York High as they carry this 19-0 lead into the 3rd quarter and got their 3rd turnover on the fumble recovery.
So 2nd and 10 from their own 26, and trouble in the backfield. Boy, great penetration by Central. And they're going to call the runner down as Wilfredo Martinez looked like might have been a loose football, but I'll tell you, he just barely got the handoff from Davis, and the Central defenders were in there, bringing him down for about a 4-yard loss.
Well, it's interesting, that change in defense. I don't know if it's because the down linemen are there, but they certainly seem to have knocked York High out of sync here at the early part of the 3rd quarter.
So 3rd down and long for the Bearcats. First half, it seemed like 3rd down and long. Penalties just didn't seem to really derail this offense. We'll see what happens here. And it looks like York High is going to call a timeout.
So both teams using up a timeout early here in this 2nd half. Brad Livingston to go out and talk to his offense.
Well, these two teams, of course, right back in action next week. And York High, they're taking on one of the top teams in the state in Harrisburg High. we've talked so much about York High and this defense and how impressive they look tonight, but
the Cougars come to town.
Yeah, the Cougars come to town next Saturday, actually.
I'll tell you, if York High holds on in this game, and there's still a lot of football to be played, that'll be another gauge for them, you know, to see how they fare against one of the best historic programs under George Chomp now.
And there you see, after Harrisburg, the final 5 Division I games, Dallastown, Spring Grove, Red Line, Southwestern, New Oxford. But I think based on what I've seen thus far tonight, Craig, York High has to be considered the favorite in Division I at this point. Long way to go, though. So 3rd down, Davis. Kiner giving him some time. And Richardson makes the catch. Boy, struggling for that 1st down marker. And this looks like he's going to be about a yard shy. But again, a connection from Davis this time to Richardson. That makes Davis 12 out of 16 tonight.
And he throws well running to his left as well. Connects very cleanly with his receiver.
And Matt Ortega, even though it's 4th and 1, going to take no chances. Fonte Dobie in punt formation. Calhoun back deep for Central. And Calhoun on a hop. And trying to cut it back in. Is brought down with some force by Kennedy. So Central will take over, still trailing it 19-0. And if you're a Bearcat fan, well, you've gone through almost 14 and a half quarters of seeing the same number on the other side of the scoreboard, and that's that big goose egg.
You know, probably the only team I can remember in this area that had an amazing feat was the 1969 West York Bulldog team under Tom Heckert. Allowed only 1 touchdown, 6 points scored against them all year.
So 1st down, working her back in there, and he goes right in the middle, and not much.
Gain of about a yard on the play, out to the 35.
So pickup of a yard on the play, 2nd down and 9. Note to the truck, no, 1969 was not the year I graduated high school.
It actually would have been the fall of 68, the 69 graduating class. A couple players going on to play big-time football out of that group. Mark Brenneman went on to star for Notre Dame and play there.
Here's
John Sprinkle.
Big Kyle Balbus. Look at him just dragging people down to the York High 42-yard line. And you talked about it earlier, Craig. You got to get that big guy the football.
I think absolutely you do. Generally speaking, it's probably broad brush and unfair to say, but it seems like the tight ends are underutilized. Good pickup there. That was a low pass. He just went down, took it low right off the ground, and boy, took guys with him. Made a real nice run after the catch.
So once again, the Panthers get into York High territory down to the 42. I formation. Play action, flipping it out to Liggins. Gets an absolutely crunching block from Tribune, and Tribune actually a little slow getting up there.
I'll tell you what, he took a hit from Newt Miller, number 7, who just came up and obliterated the blocking and allowed his teammates to make the tackle. Watch this. Sometimes you don't get credit for making the tackle, but he came up and took the Tribune out. I think he felt he was held too, but there was a lot of contact on that play.
So just a gain of a yard, 2nd down and 9. Schilt, the lone back, working straight drop pressure coming from his backside, or from his front side rather, as Sterling Daniels applying the pressure for the Bearcats along with Jamie Escobar, and it's going to be 3rd and 9.
I'll tell you, the Central quarterbacks have been under pressure all night. They don't sack them every time, but they're almost getting hit every time, and definitely feeling the pressure every time.
So once again, a 3rd down and long, and every time it seems like maybe Central's starting to get something going, this York High defense just makes some big plays. Workinger looking, has some time, throwing. Liggins makes a great catch. Boy, in a crowd.
I'll tell you what, he deserves a lot of credit. First of all, it was a great throw by Workinger.
Right.
Between white shirts. And then to hold on to that and get hit from a couple different directions. It's a great play. You're right, Chris. In this third quarter, there's a lot of positives for Central.
Yep.
Hasn't resulted in points yet, but there's a lot of positives. Look at that throw. It's high. He takes a glancing hit at first and then a good hit right there to put him down by number 4, Wilfredo Martinez.
So 1st and 10, quick flip out to Wolf, and Wolf makes the catch.
See how fast they close, though?
They do.
I mean, the ball's on its way out, and they're closing.
And Wolf makes the catch, but I don't think he's going to get any yardage out of it, so 2nd down and 10.
4 minutes to go in the third quarter. Ticking off there on our Comcast clock.
Well, I tell you, you just got to believe, you got to look back to Bulblitz again. He's the guy who's been able to make the big catch over the middle and get some extra yardage after the catch. Workinger ducks one tackler, has some room to run, and makes a nice run down near the 25-yard line. So Workinger avoiding the sack and picking up some positive yardage.
He did that pretty much on his own. I'll tell you what, he had to shake off that first tackler. Right there, guy came in high.
That was Kennedy.
And then coming back against the grain was helpful to get another 4 or 5 yards.
I'm sorry, that was Brandon Walker, 32, came in high and missed him and then hustled back and almost got back into the play the second time around. So 3rd and 5. Workinger, good protection this time. Runs out of the pocket, throws it, and intended for Liggins, but it's going to be out of bounds. So 4th down, I believe you got to go here, right,
I think you're going to go now with under 3 minutes to go in the third quarter, down 3 scores. That was good coverage that time. I'm telling you, the defensive back came around, arm right, extended at the proper place, tipped the ball away. That would have been a very difficult completion.
And it looks like Central's
they're going to kick.
Yep, they're going to try a field goal, actually.
Could it be a fake field goal?
Well, 44 yards is going to be the attempt from Alex Kelly. And a low line drive is going to be no good into the end zone, and that's going to turn it back over to the Bearcats with 2:38 to go in the third quarter.
Well, this defense bends, but it just doesn't break, does it?
Nope.
Because I thought Central did, in this quarter so far, a lot of positive things on offense, but it hasn't culminated in any points on the board.
Actually, I think if you were to look at the stats through 3 quarters, and we still have 2.5 minutes to go, but right now I think that Central is probably winning the battle of the stats. And here you get a look at Central York's schedule after York High. Boy, they travel next week to Redline, another tough game, and then Exeter, an exhibition game, and then Southwestern Doylestown, New Oxford, Spring Grove to round out that Division I schedule.
Well, the only thing I disagree on there is I don't think the passing statistics can be close at this point. I still think York has a big advantage.
Kiner makes the catch and making people miss. And I was just referring, Craig, strictly to the third quarter. I think York High's had a real tough time moving the football in the third quarter. Central has been able to move.
My apologies. Yeah, I was thinking you were saying they were catching up for the game.
Yeah.
By
of course, this guy here, number 5, can change all that in a hurry.
Talk about a run after the catch. His guy is so elusive. Great feet and strong legs. That's what I like. His feet are quick, but his legs are strong.
And Kiner gets York High a first down out to the 39. Right in the middle, and Walker just running over people. And another first down to the Panther 49. Yeah, he's a tough runner, too.
He really is. And, I mean, when they're bound, they got so many weapons to come at you with. Multiple backs. You know, you take a look at these guys. They're all strong. They're all big. Brandon Walker, 6 foot, 215.
And they all sort of have a different aspect to their running attack,
Absolutely.
running type.
Throw Wilfredo Martinez in there.
Right. Kynard in motion. Walker, head down. Boy, having a tough time as a Central defense bringing down Brandon Walker, and Walker gets 5, maybe even 6.
Well, you can't really even say the Central defense is tiring because remember, time of possession was slightly in favor of the Panthers in the first half, and I'm sure it's in favor of the Panthers through most of this third quarter. So it's not that. It's just that York High is really, I think, owning the line of scrimmage. I think York High had some trouble with those blocking assignments in that first half. But then they just decided to block areas and pass the football.
Well, and they're running the football a lot more here in the third quarter. It seemed like, especially at the end of that second quarter, they were strictly going on the arm of Jordan Davis. And now they're going with the legs of Brandon Walker, and Walker is going to pick up a couple as we tick inside of the 1 minute mark here in quarter number 3.
Well, with a three-score lead and the third quarter clock ticking down, the clock is becoming as much of your opponent as Central is. So it'll be interesting to see how Matt Ortega plays this going into the fourth quarter.
Third down and the long 3.
I tell you what, this would not be a bad down to throw the ball on.
I was thinking the same thing. And boy, Central looked everybody up within about 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. Option, Davis keeps it and has a first down near the 35-yard line.
Safe call, good call. Yep. Keep it in the hands of your quarterback, and he showed you the good speed to the outside and obtain another first down, so they'll have a first down as they head into the fourth quarter.
And we're going to wind it down, and that's going to do it for quarter number 3. Well, no points on the board in the third quarter. If you're a Bearcat fan, you're fine with that because they lead it with 12 minutes remaining. The score, York High 19, Central nothing.
What makes something amazing? Is it doing something that has never been done before? Is it doing what people once believed impossible? Or is amazing something you become? We believe in doing the amazing, in dominating air, space, and cyberspace, in inventing technology to save lives, in doing the unimaginable. But our most amazing accomplishment isn't what we've done. It's who we've become.
High in control of football to start quarter number 4, and Davis looking for the floater pass down the sideline. Jeanneret goes up and gets it, and down at about the 16, another Bearcat first down.
There's where your height becomes a factor because 6'5" Malik Jeanneret was being guarded by number 31 Lamar Calhoun at 5'10". That's a mismatch. Stats can be deceptive. Third quarter, Central 41 total yards. York High 57.
They are deceptive. I would have thought the other way around.
Well, I think that big play by Kynard there at the end put him over the top on that. But nonetheless, my perception was the same as yours. However, it did not turn out to be the reality.
And right at the middle, Walker, the ball carrier, and he picks up about 2, maybe 3. And you just got to believe, even though we mentioned the time of possession has been fairly close, this big offensive line at York High has got to really wear on you after a while.
And when I think of the variety of receivers he has to throw to, too, that's the first time he went to Jeanneret in this half.
Well, and you think when you get down into these kind of situations, Jenneret's a target, too, for the corner of the end zone.
It's 2nd and 8.
Davis option. Kiner cuts it back, makes a nice move, and gets down near the 6-yard line.
Once again, love the blocks downfield. Number 8, Robert Richardson.
And very close to another first down. And didn't Davis just wait to the right moment to pitch it to Kiner?
And I might have credited the wrong receiver. I think it was 15, Kevin Kearse. But nonetheless, they're really blocking well downfield.
And it is a first down for the Bearcats. 1st and goal, just inside of the 6-yard line.
You know, little subtle things like that just make such a difference. I mean, if you're a back, you know if I can break the line of scrimmage and beat the linebackers, somebody's going to give me help in that secondary.
Kiner in motion, Walker right in the middle. Running. Wow, man. Boy, those legs just kept on moving for number 32, and he's down near the 1.
Big wheels keep on turning.
Yeah.
Man, I'm telling you, that looked like a drill where, you know, you were running and pulling a sled, and as a running back, just watch his legs. Just keeps driving for the goal line.
So now 2nd and goal. You see the football inside of that 1-yard line, Mark.
2nd and goal.
Why not Walker again, huh, Craig?
Why not?
Davis under center, Walker behind him.
Kiner in motion. Walker and hit right away.
He is dropped.
Boblins into the backfield.
Boblins was thinking along the same lines as we were.
Yeah, I think so. And you know, when Central needs a big defensive play, it's a lot of times number 84.
Loss of a half a yard on the play. 3rd down.
You know, you look at him, 6'5", 244, just a sophomore. That's you can't teach size.
Yep.
And he certainly has abilities, and he'll just keep getting better and better with each year. I wouldn't be surprised if Davis keeps here. Fake the full.
And movement by York High. Now, I don't know. I saw some movement by Central, but I don't know if they crossed the line of scrimmage. And it is defensive encroachment against the Panthers, so okay, move it about a half a yard. And we'll try 3rd and goal again. I'd be with you, Craig. I'd be with you on the Jordan Davis keep. Maybe a little rollout, give him the option to run.
Maybe a fake to the fullback and off tackle or to the end.
Richardson's all alone in that far corner, and Davis does exactly what we called for, and he gets into the end zone for a York High touchdown.
What a methodical drive that was.
Yep.
Mixing the pass and the run.
And if you're Matt Ortega, you got to just love that. I mean, you know, York High over the years known for their big playability, but not known to be able to string those kind of drives together. And they've had a couple of them tonight.
I tell you, there's a lot of tough games.
You fell out.
There's essentially a whole quarter to go here, at least 9 minutes worth, a little under 9 minutes. I tell you, there's so many pieces to this York High puzzle, but I just feel like Jordan Davis was the final piece of the offensive puzzle.
And the extra point kick by Ethan Fair, and that one is up and good. So 8:50 to go in the football game. York High leads at 26-0.
And Chris, it was a beautiful 11-play, 80-yard drive, consuming 2 minutes and 38 seconds of the 3rd quarter as you take a look at the touchdown. The sneak here off the right guard. 3 minutes and 10 seconds in the 4th quarter, a 5-minute and 48-second drive, almost 6 minutes off the clock. And what's it result in? 7 points.
The script is perfect if you're a Bearcat fan, that's for sure.
I got to tell you, they are just right now manhandling Central, and I think Central's demoralized. I really do, because they came out and gave it their best shot.
Right.
Liggins had the great return to open the second half. Their offense looked like it was starting to click. And then, guess what?
And
something that's happened for the last 3 weeks. The defense of York High rose to the occasion.
And, you know, you look at Central kicks the onside kick to start the football game, recovers it. So there was a lot of opportunities for Central here thus far tonight to make some plays and get some points on the board, and they just haven't been able to do it. And credit York High's defense again.
When you think back to those 2 drop passes in the first half.
Yeah.
I mean, really, it could even been worse at halftime.
So Jenneret to kick it. And Calhoun trying to get to the near side, being chased down. Gets some great blocks, makes a cut. 48-yard line. And Calhoun had to start the whole way from the other side of the field. I didn't know if he was going to get to this side.
I'll tell you, he got some great blocks, though, over here. I think number 67, I don't know if we're going to see this or not, but he gets a crackback block, a fully legal block to really help him.
And there, a nice cut by Calhoun, making one Bearcat tackler miss. And a nice gain, and again, pretty decent field position for the Panthers.
Yeah, I think it was Drew Horn on that block on the kickoff return team.
Workinger to Fells. First time we've called his number tonight, and Fells maybe to the midfield stripe. Pickup of a yard or 2.
See if fresh legs can do it. You know, right now, maybe a realistic goal for Central is to try to be the first team to score on York High this year.
Gain of about a yard on the play, 2nd down and 9.
And facing a 26-point deficit coming up on the 8-minute mark.
Well, and trying to run wide on this York High defense just doesn't seem like that's the answer to me.
They actually had their most success tonight out of the power I between the tackles, right. But you know, you got to change it up too, because there's adjustments made there.
Liggins play action. Workinger looking to set up the screen. Gets it out there, and Schilt makes the catch, gets across midfield, but a short gain on the play. It's going to bring up 3rd down and long for the Panthers.
They read that really well. They saw a screen from the beginning, hung back there, and just played the receivers.
Well, and you know, we talked about Central trying to change it up and do all kinds of things. Brad Livingston on that Central sideline has been doing this for a long time, Craig, and he knows against a good defense like this, you got to just try a lot of different things and see if you can find something that's going to work.
Yep, 26 seasons he's been doing this. 2-1 coming into this game, 150, 166, and 4 overall.
Workinger to Liggins, and Liggins is driven to the turf, the artificial turf. Daniels, Kynard are all there for York High, and that's going to bring up 4th and about 4 for the Panthers.
A lot of white shirts here again, Chris. We talk about this. It's not just one individual on this defense. They really seem to have, I mean, Matt Ortega's probably used the term in print media and to us, but they have chemistry. And that chemistry manifests itself in gang tackling and quickness to the ball and supporting each other.
Trusting the guy beside you. So Panthers are going to go for it on 4th and 4. Workinger across the middle and almost picked off. Barnes stepped in front of Ryan Wolf, the intended receiver, knocks it down, and York High is going to take over on downs. Boy, has he read a couple passes perfectly.
He has. And I tell you what, you can tell they are well coached because they're playing it perfectly in the defensive backfield. They're not going to hit the man and play the man. They're going to the man, but then as the ball gets there, they're going to the passing lane.
Right, making that cut in front of the receiver, and Barnes almost had another interception and may have even wisely just knocked it down because now the ball will come back out and York High will take over at the 46.
You think how many times tonight they've either got an interception, knocked the ball down. I remember the sideline pattern, a great reach around to knock the ball away. It has not been easy for the Central receivers and quarterbacks tonight.
So the Bearcats take over. I formation this time. We might see a little dose of that man. It's Martinez this time out of the fullback spot. As he stumbles forward for a pickup of a couple. you know, it's been very much a workman-like type of a night for York High tonight.
There's been no super flashy plays.
Right.
I did think the touchdown to end the first half was a well-executed, well-thought-out, go to your secondary receiver kind of play. But there's been no long runs, no reverses that have resulted in touchdowns or big gains. It has been very, well, it's what good teams do.
Right.
They have a lot of variety. They mix the pass and the run. They play good defense. And they move the chains.
Yep. There you see Richardson makes the catch, but he's actually brought down behind the line of scrimmage. So 3rd down and long for the Bearcats. But I can't stress enough how much difference we've noticed in this offense with Jordan Davis at quarterback. And that's not taking anything away from Malik Jeanneret, because
man, he's an asset at receiver.
Tremendous asset. And I think as the season goes on, he's going to become more and more of a focal point as a wide receiver.
Yeah, but the whole offense just seems to be so confident and in sync behind Jordan Davis.
Right. Davis lets the clock run down and maybe let it run down a little too far.
Oops. I don't think they wanted him to do that.
Well, actually, there was a timeout called by York High, but the back judge also threw a flag so that they get the timeout before the delay of game. Well, they did. So York High will use another timeout, 5:39 to go, and I think it's safe to start looking ahead. York High, Harrisburg next week. You talk about a gauge to find out where you're at in Quad A football in the state of Pennsylvania.
Yeah, and if my memory serves me well and it gets worse as the years go on, I believe Matt Ortega had a year under George Chomp.
I believe so.
Somewhere along the line. And I'll tell you what, George Chomp, you talk about coaching trees. There's a guy that started at Harrisburg High School and has come full circle, but with stops with Woody Hayes, offensive coordinator at Ohio State, head coach at the Naval Academy. He's seen a lot of football, and he has spawned a lot of coaches.
And here's Jeanneret trying to go up, and good coverage that time on the play. DJ Harrison, 32, perfect inside position on Jeanneret, and that's going to set up 4th down.
That was as good a coverage as you can have on Malik Jeanneret. DB going up after that taller receiver. Played it perfectly. Well, one thing you got to love, the bands and the cheerleaders never give up.
Never stop, right?
5:33 to go in the game. Down 26.
Stephante Doby, boy, low line drive kick. And gonna let it roll down at about the 23. So that's where Central will take over. We'll see who comes back in at quarterback, as the Panthers still trying to put together a drive to get the first points on the board for them tonight, as Brandon Workinger comes back out on the field.
I thought it was a good move to try Kraft to see if that might be, a spark that could change some things up on York High.
Well, and in fairness to James Culp, he had
Culp, I said Kraft.
He had a lot of pressure, as had Workinger tonight. So they go back to the junior. Wolf in motion, play action. Here comes the pressure, and from behind, finally, Workinger goes down. Number 72 for the Bearcats in there to make the sack, and that's Danny Rivera, 6 foot, 220-pound junior. You
pressure initially
upon Kennedy in
Kennedy
there.
Yeah, Joe Kennedy. Man, I'll tell you what, they just keep coming. And that push has been primarily from the defensive line tonight.
Right.
They're not doing a lot of blitzing. They're getting good push up front from their tackles, their ends.
3 wide right.
Workinger rolling, throwing, has a receiver. Liggins makes the catch. And out close to the 30, it's going to be shy and bring up a 3rd down. This is probably a wise decision here. Try to get Workinger out of the pocket, buy him a little time, and one of his favorite receivers first week or two of the season, Blaine Liggins makes the catch.
But it's going to come back. Penalty against Central. Personal.
On the offense, half the distance.
So the rollout, good throw to the outside there. Nobody can get to it.
And it looks like that penalty is going to put it back to pretty much where Central started that previous play, back at about the 17-yard line.
I don't think York High has any timeouts. They were trying to get one, and the officials wouldn't acknowledge it unless they're going to give it to them after the penalty's marked off.
Actually, back to the 15-yard line is going to be the spot.
Yeah,
So
I saw the players calling it. I just wasn't sure if they had a timeout left.
Right. I believe that is York High's last timeout here in the second half.
Paul shakes his head yes.
Okay.
So.
And that'll bring up a 3rd down and long for the Panthers. Well, looking ahead to next week, Craig, we stay in Division I and head to one of our favorite places, the Mustang Corral, as the Spring Grove Rockets and Coach Greg Trone taking on the Southwestern Mustangs.
First time to the Corral this year.
This season, yep. And two teams that are kind of sort of on the fringes in a lot of people's minds.
I'll be anxious to see the outcome of their games this weekend as well.
So we'll see you next week from Southwestern up in Hanover, PA.
We'll see this York High team one more time when they travel to Red Line in mid-October.
Working her play action, looking deep down the field. Liggins, the intended receiver, and there was contact, but I think it was a good no call.
It was an excellent no call. The defender was on the inside. He didn't face guard. He didn't push. He just simply ran with the receiver.
Lance Cease, number 12, had perfect position, and Liggins kind of, in an attempt to try to get the football, just sort of ran into Cease, and it wasn't anything of Cease's fault or his doing.
And there was no offensive pass interference. He was just trying to make some room for himself. But I can certainly understand the frustration on the part of the Panthers at this point in the game with, after this kick, they'll be under 4 minutes to play.
And now Central's going to call timeouts again. I think short a couple players is the Central kicking team.
Boy, Brad Livingston and his staff can't be happy about that.
You're to week 4 now, and you should be getting a lot of those things ironed out. And maybe at this point in the game with a 26-point deficit, maybe trying to get some different people in there. You see this Central crowd hanging around, still hoping for some good things here from their Panthers, but they're on the short end of the stick right now. This Bearcat team certainly looking like, well, I don't think there's any question, a much better team than we saw in week 1.
And they were victorious in week 1 and shut out Reading. So.
Right. Kelly, beautiful kick. And bounces sideways and ends up being down right at about midfield. So with 4:04 to go, York High will take over.
Kind of a minor thing to work on. I think their punt return game could be better. They look a little unsure about whether they're going to come up and make fair catches or come up, and the communication between the deep backs, if you know what I mean.
Right.
It's not a criticism, it's just an observation.
Yeah. And if you're Matt Ortega, well, okay, that is a comment, but there's a lot of positives.
Oh man,
and a lot of positives.
That list is a whole lot longer.
Yep.
And you know what? Winning heals everything. It makes everything better.
Yep.
Man, you enjoy the weekend more. You practice isn't as bad Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday the next week.
And right up the middle, new quarterback Troy Smallwood into the game.
Shoulder pads don't feel as heavy.
And there you see the ball carrier Nelson Torres, 5'9", 150-pound senior. There you see the handoff from Smallwood to Torres. gain of about a yard, and given the situation, I think that's probably what we will see the rest of the way for the Bearcats, keeping it on the ground, moving that clock.
How about the tackles that are in there too? Number 75, Nate Valdez, 6'4", 290. Josh Kleinitz.
And fumbled snap, and we'll see if Smallwood was able to get back on it. And it looks like he was. So it's going to be 3rd down for the Bearcats.
You know, this does beg an interesting question, though. Is Smallwood in there just to get some snaps and repetition, some game experience? He is a junior. Or if they needed to go to a backup quarter, would they bring Malik Jeanneret in?
Well, I'd say the ideal situation would be that Jordan Davis continues to steer the ship
yeah,
here.
Of course, but I'm saying, you know, it's a possibility of injury and that sort of thing.
Doby lined up on the wrong side, gets to the correct side, and now 3rd down. And right side, and not a whole lot of room, and that's going to set up 4th down. And by the time we take the snap for the punt, we'll be under the 2-minute mark. And you know, it's kind of funny because Matt Ortega said this to us tonight too. He said, the 3 shutouts are great, but quite honestly, I would just as soon have Central score and get that off our backs.
Yeah, because you know what? Every headline now, I guarantee you somehow that'll be mixed in the headline or the sub-headline in the paper tomorrow morning. And it does build some pressure. On the other hand, it gives your kids something to shoot for.
Right,
you know?
Right.
I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, but I understand his thinking. That can't be the primary focus.
Yeah.
Well, I think they took care of business on both sides of the ball tonight.
I agree. And let's just say this. Let's just say that if they come away next week and still haven't been scored on against Harrisburg, then we are going to be believers, aren't we?
Let me tell you, I'll stand up and take notice in Continental Square on that. That would be very impressive.
So Central takes over, 25-yard line. 2nd back and a loose football. And Central able to get on it.
If I'm not wrong, I think that's a Saturday game next week.
It is a Saturday game,
and I think I might know where I'm headed Saturday afternoon because I would love to see that game. We'll have to get the boys from the high here, Gary Miller and Paul Goodenough and Bo Rule. Head to the meadow.
Head to the meadow. Culp back in there at quarterback, and now Central facing a 2nd down and a mile to go after that big fumble. You see the clock down there ticking toward the 1-minute mark.
3 wide right, 2nd and long.
Culp looking, throwing, has a receiver and out of bounds. Caught made there by Charles Anderson, 6'1", 165 pounds, just a sophomore.
Hey, Chris, you can go along too.
Oh, I could.
Unless you're doing some gallivanting around the country, like putting on seminars. But if you're home,
I might just try that.
There you go.
Might just try that.
One of the great stadiums, fields, and press boxes.
Zach Sprankle comes in there as I think they're alternating quarterbacks on this drive. 3rd down and long.
Calhoun in the backfield. 3rd and long.
And looks like York High jumped offside. I think even I could call that one.
Yeah, but as a defensive lineman, you're supposed to point at the
On the defense, 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
Anxious, and I totally understand that. You get some live game action, you want to make a play. That's good, unbridled enthusiasm. Just have to learn to control that a little bit.
So still 3rd down.
And we got another flag.
Everybody moved that time, but the center didn't snap the football, I believe.
So, turnabout is fair play. 5 yards up, 5 yards back.
You know, referee Eric Little, our buddy, he's getting a lot of airtime tonight.
Absolutely.
So we'll try third down again. Straight drop by Sprinkle. Penetration and slam to the ground.
What a sack.
Big number 75, Nate Valdez. That's at 6'4", 290-pound 10th grader.
And I tell you what, he showed good quickness to the quarterback, too. He fights through the block, grabs him with the right arm, brings him down. Nice sack that time. Just can't have that tomahawk chop. Clock's winding down.
That looks like it is going to be the final play. Well, that'll do it tonight here from Central. York High is 4 for 4 shutouts. Tonight they defeat the Central Panthers by the score of 26-0 and run their record to 4-0. An impressive performance by the Bearcats. They look forward to Harrisburg next week. Next week here on Comcast, we're looking forward to Spring Grove at Southwestern from the Mustang Corral. Our final once again tonight, York High 26, Central nothing for our statisticians, Paul Goodemote, Gary Miller, Bo Rule, my broadcast partner Craig Smith, our producer-director Dan Butler, and the rest of the Comcast crew. This is Chris Pupp. Thanks for joining in, everybody, and we'll see you next week from Southwestern.